Good Night Valitaya Orinos, written by SlyKitsune. "Chivalry is dead," cried the people of Lore Castle. "The honor of knighthood is a dying thing," they lamented. And so, in the depths of the sacred woods, just beyond those castle walls, the birth of a beautiful tulpa began to take place. An idea so entrenched in the people's minds that it took on a human form. Well, not entirely, for Valitaya Orinos bore the traits and attributes of multiple forest creatures: long white hair adorned in simple braids, a golden unicorn horn, the gold antlers of a spirit fawn, the hearing of a harpy, the ears of a rabbit, the golden wings of a fae, and the white irises that saw all within the boundaries of the living soul. She could see the purity, the innocence, and the kindness in you with just one glance. Moreover, the evils of those who would try to slight her. She was the living embodiment of chivalry and justice, a forestling creature for the sole purpose of protecting the weak and righting the wrongs of the once corrupt kingdom of Lore. She instinctively made her way past the edge of the forest, and after many days managed to obtain an audience with the young Prince Vroid. "Your people cry out, begging for mercy. The earth here is barren and dry, the common folk neglected and starving. I can heal what ails this cursed land, if only you wish it," Valitaya said with a wave of her magical hands. Moss and flowers and vines began to sprout through the marble floors and crawl across the stony walls. "'Tis not I," said Vroid, "that brings greed and gluttony upon us, Lady Valitaya Orinos, forestling of the sacred woods, newly formed from the will of your people, always and ever at the service of mankind, if it befits me to do so. Ah, Lady Orinos, it is my father who lets this great kingdom rot and decay. His name is King Sorden, and he sits here beside me, sleeping as he does after a long day of heavy drink." Sorden had been there sleeping soundly the entire time, a large, hefty man who'd blended a little too well with the throne he slept upon. Though they shared the same blonde hair and scarlet eyes, nothing else seemed to match between the two. While the king slumbered, not a care in the world, Vroid stood with confidence beside his father. One look and Valitaya saw the intense shine of his soul. There was a sickly red to Sorden's, denoting years of wine and bloodshed mingling with his voracious appetite for not only the finer things in life, but the absolute finest as well. "We must make you king," Val said rather directly. Vroid was a bit taken aback. "But I love my father. He has many glorious years ahead of him. May he reign forevermore." "You don't actually believe that. I just saw a flash of darkness smear across your soul. Come away with me into the streets of beggars and barmaids, starving mothers and daughters and sons." "Aye, Lady Orinos, it would be my great pleasure to learn more of my own lovely lore from a strange, albeit absolutely gorgeous creature such as yourself." With that, Valitaya set Vroid's sarcasm aside and manifested a blood-red Pegasus from a goblet of wine she'd just been offered by the royal butler. The horse's eyes glazed over with swirling purple clouds. "Poisoned, nice try." The butler stood aghast where moments earlier he'd handed Valitaya the goblet with a flourish and a smile. "This is my father's servant, not mine," Vroid said as he leapt onto the horse's back. "Shall we?" he asked before snapping the reins. "We shall," Valitaya said, and they flew through the nearest window with a dramatic gust, leaving the king flabbergasted and the butler embarrassed at their failed assassination attempt on Lady Orinos, the strange woman who'd come to disrupt their lives. Back in the peasant village, Valitaya had alighted near a child missing his left arm and left leg. His mother informed the prince that the boy had wandered into the Colosseum and fit himself through the bars of a three-headed hell tiger's kennel. Two of the beasts had been sleeping, but the third was alerted when the small boy had accidentally stepped on its tail. In a frightened panic, the hell tiger had bitten his left clean off. He would have died had the Colosseum keepers not been cleaning up the carnage nearby. The one in charge of bringing meat to the cages found him lying in a pool of his own blood, and a low-level fire warlock rushed to cauterize his wounds. There was a medical mender here in the village, but they had no magic. Only numbing agents from barbed animal quills to ease the pain. He had been dull and sickly, abandoned by his father and brothers, and left here to be cared for by his penniless mother. "We'll starve to death before infection has the chance to take either of us," sobbed the mother. "I know of a place in the sacred woods that can restore him fully. To anchor trust in you, I ask that the prince stay here as insurance until I return with the boy. Do you agree?" Val turned to look at Thord. The mother looked at him too, sincere desperation shining through. "Yes, I'll stay. How long will this take?" 2 days by flight, then 2 days back." "You know what you can do until then." "I do, and I shall. Take care of him." "Take care of them," Valley said, nodding toward all the haggard, stained souls wandering around, trying to find meaning and purpose within the pain, disease, and poverty of this village. Astride the Pegasus, 2 days came and went quickly. Once the echoes of Siren Song reached Val's ears, she knew she'd made it to the Weeping Waters, a beautiful lake filled with the tears of drowned dukes and misfortunate mermaids who'd caved into their siren side only to realize they'd lost their lovers in the morning. All the lingering merfolk leapt into the water upon Valitaya's arrival. Heartbroken as they were for their sins, they certainly weren't looking for a fight with a powerful entity. Valley held the child and gently tread with him into the water. She began to hum a soft tune for him as the water crept up his skin to create liquid limbs that slowly turned into flesh and bone, swirling in a ribbon pattern down, down, down until his fingertips and legs were fully formed again. "And now for the journey back, you can hold on to the reins and steer with me." The boy's face lit up as he readied with her for the journey home. "You've restored my son! Oh, gods be good, you are a marvel, a miracle truly!" "You look much healthier now, ma'am. Absolutely stunning when not covered in grief and soot. Isn't that right, princeling?" The mother's eyes grew wide as saucers at the disrespectful title and tone her savior had just used with his highness. She glanced at Prince Thord in horror, expecting an instant death sentence for treasonous behavior. "Oh, I like you," he said, staring down at Valitaya. He turned to console the troubled mother with calming words of affirmation. "You needn't worry about my fire-tongued friend here. We've a rather close relationship, you see. Or at least we will. Her training to become my knight starts now." And so began a budding romance, along with the plot to overthrow corrupt King Sorden and restore balance to Laura Castle. Whether the journey ends in happiness or tragedy is a tale only time will tell.